Testing, testing, blah, 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 blah. Cookie, cookie, cookie. Beer. Testing, testing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, continue on. I don't know what's going on. I think something was going on with like Hero Games' servers because they were getting weird. I checked everything on my end. Seemed like I was doing fine. Unless this game started acting up, then I might say my internet, but... So, doing the commissions here to start. Since this is my first time being not Kai. Sorry, Gaming, but I'm gonna have to take you out of the picture for a time being on this. Screw it.
Leave me alone. Never mind. Let's go.
Need something taken care of?
Trying to clean up.
I like the rain.
So far I've been enjoying the Nodcry story arc. I feel sorry for Loma though. I actually like the character herself. Just sucks I don't have her as, you know, part of my squad. Yeah. Meeting the Damsela is rather interesting. Oh, I have a new name card? Oh, I know. That's why. What? Complete the Valiant Chronicles challenges to obtain. And where is this said Valiant Chronicles? Or is that the book I have? It's part of that book. Oh, I gotta submit that stuff. Whew. There's so many items in this game, it's not even funny. This is where it gets interesting on that, but... Hmm? Oh. Is that it? No, that's that. Guys, I had so many items! What the hell is this? No. No. Gosh, I had so many items, it's not even funny right now at this point. I know people who started the game off are way worse than me, but still. Oh? That was weird.
Everyone, if we were...
Why is these things updated?
You defeated the Hydro Arc. I didn't this. The words of someone as extraordinary as a...
That's kind of driving me nuts. Because now I... Relate Valiant Chronicles challenges to obtain. So, how do I access it? Because I know there is a book they gave you or something. Oh, what's this? So the reunion system optimized and updated in version 2 Luna. Or the version 2. What's updated? Try server activated stamina as affected by the manus will take part in the event as normal. So what's upgraded? Not like I actually access this stuff, but at least 14 days since last login. 45. Venture 10. Okay, so there is a cooldown. 45 days since the last activating instead of ruining. Okay, that makes more sense. Activating so. Oh, okay. So instead, at least 45 days since the game last login, now it's down to 14 days, so 2 weeks. And instead of being 60 days since last activating the reunion event, now it's only 45. So they chopped off 15 days on the cooldown, but the activation is now 14 instead of 45 days. That's actually more nice. They're really trying to get players back in the game, which I'm not going to deny that. Okay. I don't remember checking that much. What's up with that? I gotta look at these. Okay, let's get on with dailies here. Oh, you guys are kind of screwed, aren't you? Try to flying targets using commodities bullets. That sounds pretty easy. What I like about Skirk's freaking movement enhancement is that you're able to regen your stamina over time. Oh, hello. I got a shiny over. I just picked up. Okay. And the music is really good, if I want to be honest. So the flying targets using command bullets. Okay, so I can switch to Gaming for this, probably. If not, I'm gonna have to bail out on this mission. Where is Gaming? Hello, brain, not working here. Oh, here it is.
Got it. I'll start my warm-up.
That was easy. Random chest? Okay, I'm not gonna complain about random chest that was laying here. But yeah, the story's been really interesting so far. And now I'm on the second act of this series. Okay, so I gotta go out there. Okay. Traveling in this game is not too bad, either, too. Destroy the Hercule Towers. I feel like I'm gonna need Skirk on this one again. Bird. Oh. Ah. Got it. Right. My OCD is kicking in. Or ADHD, whatever to go. Okay.
A treasure buried in time.
But yeah, Llama, I really feel sorry for her. Okay. The hell? Strange sorry, she often found among the Republican Society of our legs seems to contain mysterious power. Okay. Where? Missing that, dude. Well, he just died. And so Skirk. Oh, this thing's kicking my ass. What the freak?
It was all
Whoa, okay, dude, you need to chill the hell out. Where's the nearest healing spot? Jesus. Oh god, so I'm gonna have a lot coming in. Oh, we get acquainted fates now? I'll welcome that. Shrine deaths. Huh. Okay. I welcome that. Oh, I never got this portal. I better get that. Okay, what's above me? Is that it? No. Saying it's here. Or is it up there? Okay, what's trying to kill me? Oh, it's underneath. Ew! Well, you guys screwed yourself. Okay, why does the Hurricanes keep appearing when I'm not in the vicinity of the zone? What? Okay, I'm confused. I'm still trying to figure out these things. Okay. So how do I throw this one in? Getting sidetracked here. Don't mind me passing through.
Mine to wield.
That one? Oh. Can we not attack the guy? You activated my frost god. Okay. I'll switch over. Coming.
Is there time to...
Add Astra.
Ah, that's how you... of course.
Add Astra. Thank you for coming.
Oh, hi.
Huh? That's not the price we agreed on. What do you think you're playing at?
Dear Miss Yehoda, if you manage to return the object of your next commission intact, then I assure you your reward will be...
Oh, she botched up.
It wasn't my fault. How was I supposed to know a bunch of monsters were gonna jump me out of nowhere and knock me into that river?
Might I also ask that you don't spread so much misinformation to our clients when you're escorting them in the future?
Oh.
I wasn't spreading misinformation. Most of what I said was based firmly on the truth.
The master bandit who has stolen from every town and village in Nodcry.
That was just me trying to sound cool. No one told me the client was from the Fontaine Guard. Stop questioning me the whole way.
Nice going.
That woman takes herself too seriously. No sense of humor at all. I can't believe she asked the guild to revoke my membership.
The fixer who protects all of Nasha Town.
I was talking about Boss Neff. I was telling the client about her.
Regardless, Miss Yehoda, if you wish to take on any more commissions in the future, it would be best...
Zip it!
I know. Be careful what you do and say. Boss Neff's always yammering on at me. But my mouth gets all itchy when I don't use it too long.
Perhaps you could take a few pointers from our experienced adventurer here.
The Traveler. I guess he's not the worst person to learn from.
Thanks.
But you're gonna need to wait for me to take this reward back to Boss Neff first. She ain't gonna be happy that it's not the full amount. I feel a lecture coming. Add Astra.
Anyhow. Okay, so I have to finish these things. Okay, so I gotta do a quest. And another quest, which I think I got that one. And that one I don't. Okay. Because I like to have a little bit difference on my borders. Oh yeah, I gotta start burning my resources. My Nightland team's actually doing pretty strong in the zone, surprisingly. Yeah, let's fight this thing. Get its resources just in case for future characters, some odd reason. Ooh. Good night. I don't care who you are. You're not living through that attack. Oh, damn. Just ran out. Actually, I'll switch back and forth so I can get the rewards. Because 45 command is 45 companion. Oh!
Let the mountain's veins boil! Show no mercy!
Just die. So my future plans of pulling, I want to get Alice from the Narcod and Varka maybe. I don't know what his kit's gonna be like. I feel like he's gonna be an upgraded version of Jean, but I don't know. I could be wrong. He's probably gonna be like the new Wanderer, pretty much. Because they always hype up Varka as the head grandmaster of Mondstadt, but also I really want to get Shalonen up onto C2 because she would empower this team to ridiculous levels. The only reason I say that, Constellation 1, fine, she gets her abilities a little lasting longer, and also when they're under the source samples mode, they're not interrupted so easily. AKA, Solani won't be interrupted with her shield casting, like those lava guys I always keep smacking around when I was doing the Natlan dungeon for upgrades. But this is the big one. So, obviously, you saw Electro, Cryo, and Pyro is her sample things. So, Moika is going to get 45% damage enhancement. Solani is going to hit like 200,000 damage with her burst, because she's already hitting 110,000 at least for me. So another 60, she's probably going to go higher than that. And Ison, she'll be getting her burst constantly now. The 25 energies is huge, and also the cooldown will be reduced. So I'm just kind of cycling through. Moika, Zerlone, Solani, Ison, go crazy, and repeat and rinse. It's just going to keep that rotation in a freaking flow. Her, I need to get her up to speed. Because there's so much enhancements on damage. This is another additional 30 to attack. So Moika is going to get hit harder on her attack. This also enhances her, burst a little bit more. So I'm able to get that up to speed, even though it's kind of not that great, because Moika actually moves enough that it's constantly at 100%. But still, additional damage is also helpful, because this also synergizes with this. Yeah. So, additionally, when Isa enters next to a point on restoration, if there is any overflow, which she will, she'll gain extreme force effect, increases the damage to your current active character by 25% for 3 seconds. So, Moika's burst is going to hit like a truck. Because in that 3 seconds, it's going to be tight. It should be, honestly, be 5 seconds. But the moment you hit that thing, boom. And not to mention the kinetic scale duration is going to increase by 3 seconds. So the cooldown is going to be 3 seconds off. Which is obviously going to be enough because the rotation is going to keep going. So, yeah. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be constant DPS checks. Actually, what the hell? Oh, that's a Monday schedule. Shit, I should have been doing that. Oh well, too late now. But yeah.
Instead of confining themselves to the heavens, God should broaden their...
Fulfill our pact! Seek love, seek Papa, get
And not to mention,
Show no mercy. Controlled breathing.
there's another thing also I want to add up for Salon or a Jalonin. Her second part, it says her geosource samples are always remain active, so she's always shredding. I'm assuming that's how it's wording that. Additionally, when her source sample is activated, nearby members will be affected by whatever their elemental type. So she's always shredding. At least that's what I'm understanding how that's wording. Because it says source samples has source generates different sound scales based on their elemental types, decreasing enemies' elemental resistance while active. So, if that's what it's saying correctly, she's always going to be shredding constantly, unless she dies some reason. But other than that, that's it.
Bring it. Light it up. Get to work. Suffer the wrath of evil. Start the light up a blazing sun.
God, it's so much damage. So, yeah.
Rise with the sun. Fulfill our pact.
And Solani, I really want to get her next up on the constellations too. Only reason is there's a lot of things. Like right now at C0, she's kind of useless in a group setting wise and multiplayer. But this will enhance her damage output a little bit in the group. So she becomes a little bit more DPS-y. And this one will make her a shield user in the group now. This one, she increases her DPS with her self-centered DPS. And this just straight up support and DPS in the same sense. So, yeah. This one's really nice because you activate her ability, her freaking little minions just go berserk. And any things that you get, obviously it will add more shredding. Because it says Pyro and Hydro damage bonus. So, yeah. Yeah. Solani is going to get a little ridiculous if I actually get her up to speed. And Moeka, if I get her C1, this is nice. Because one, she'll have her ability lasting longer, her elemental. And same sense, she's also getting 40% attack, which is... So, her second one is okay. It's just a opponent's defense is decreased when she has that. But the thing is that this synergizes her to C6 because when she's in frame strike, she's always doing her AoE attack regardless. So currently you only have one. Either you're on your bike doing melee DPS, or just get off the bike and you're doing AoE damage. Now you're on both states. That's if I'm understanding that correctly. But because of that, it says Ring of Searing Radiance, but that's being activated now at C6 while on the bike. Yes, one. Let's see. Damage gain after using elemental burst will not decay over time. Oh. Additional 10% will be advanced. Jeez. Kagalozi. What the hell is that one? After using elemental burst on every point of fighting spirit percent. Increases damage if the party member deals the maximum increase is 40%. Its effect lasts 20 seconds, decaying this duration until it reaches 0. Oh, well, that's typical. But still, the damage increase gain will not decay over time. Additional, huh? Interesting. So that's why she's doing a shit ton of damage for the first few seconds, but after that, it just drops off. And no wonder I'm like, hey, I'm like hitting 80,000, then 60, then I'm hitting 40, 20s. Yeah, okay, that explains why I drop off so heavily. I thought it was because Jamonen's shred just dropped off. Well, it also does, but still. Either way, I need to get her up to C6 so I can enhance Moika a little bit more further on her damage output. I need to get her to C2. Preferably, I wanted to get her to C6. And Moika at least C1, just to get that buff going. And that team would be just ridiculous. Skirk, though, I don't know. The Skirk team is just, Farina, I really wanted to get her as my first Archon to be C6, if I'm gonna be honest. Because I love Farina. She's one of my favorite Archons out of them. Like, I'm happy I actually got her C1, because this helps quite a bit. Her damage output for everybody is enhanced dramatically. Which I do know is a big difference with Skirk now. She's hitting 130s. I'm like, your melee is hitting 130s. What the hell? Or no, not her melees. Her burst. That's what it was. Because so much freaking numbers are going off. But then again, she goes blender mode. She still freaking hits like a truck. But yeah, once People's Rejoice is just, especially Escoffier heals everybody. It's like max axe. Same as this, because if I actually get the combination going, that's more DPS on Farina's side with her minions. And this would be nice because I'm having a hard time keeping her energy up. Because Farina doesn't get enough energy recharge rates. Even though I've been told, like, 180 is good, but I'm not pumping enough. Even with the lead pipe, she's still not getting enough. So, I don't know. This might help it a little bit more. And not to mention, because it said energy recharge says restore 4 energy, technically she's restoring probably close to 10 for every 5 seconds. I would assume that, energy recharge rate would enhance that. So that would be helpful for her to get that constantly flowing. That's my problem about this team. It's like the flow is a little bit disruptive. But the Natlan team, like I said, if I actually get Jalone to C2, the flow is going to get more faster. Especially Ison, because she's the one who's kind of bottlenecking me a little bit. If I reduce the cooldown of her burst by 6 seconds, boom, there it is. And not to mention, it'll make Jalone my main healer / support now. Much as I love Jean, but if I have a team that's Pyro, Cryo, or Electro, Special Electro, which is ridiculous, yeah, it's not going to end well. That's another thing. It's like, it's additionally when her source samples activate, but it says always remain active. So I don't understand. That kind of contradicts its wording a little bit, because wouldn't that negate gaining them if I'm trying to activate it? I don't know. All nerve programmers will gain a fix. Unless activation duration. I don't know. Maybe it'll change his wording around when I get to C2. Maybe I'll get rid of that activation duration. I don't know. And maybe I'll also update the Night Soul point time limit, because the C1 will actually enhance it. But my Jalone is just ridiculous because she's healing for 8k with her burst. And that's AoE for everybody. So it's like, hey, we need heals. She's dishing out, like, what's the duration on that? 12 seconds. So what is it, like every 2 seconds? I think I was. Does it say? Oh, I didn't know there's depending what her source samples are. Interesting. Hmm. Okay, let's say every 3 seconds is that. So that's 4 heals. So that's 32,000 HP worth she's doing. It'd be more stupid if I actually put a freaking artifact with her and says healing. I have so much defense on her, it's not even funny. And everything's energy recharge, hence why I do one elemental attack, boom, she's already full. I had her so good with this set. This one could be a little bit better if I want to be honest. But yeah. Or defense. I even have flat defense for that, which winning. Crit damage. Which is okay. Huh. Defense, energy, and crit rate. That's what I don't understand. Why crit rate though? Maybe I just try to do some type of decent damage, but energy recharge definitely because you want to get her shit going constantly. And the defense percentage, obviously, you want that because it helps her attack stats. But yeah, especially when she's in her elemental state. But the thing is that if she's a DPS version of her, because if she has all Geo, she will constantly do damage like that for a rollerblade mode. But other than that, if you're in her other state, you're only going to get off those 4 hits and you're done. Actually, does it increase her point limit too? No, it doesn't. That sucks. And not to mention, Jalone is just ridiculous because Night Sword point limit is 90. Moika absorbs that like nothing. Which brings back to the Constellation 1. Maximum Night Soul points increased by 120, and she gains Fighting Spirit 25% more effectively. So 90% of that is about 20%, close to 20% more from Jalonne's. So technically, half her max limit has already been casted from Jalonne. Stupid. But yeah, C1, C2, max out, and this team will just perfect. I don't have to worry about this team permanently anymore. Could I get more from Moika? Yeah, I could, but C1 is just fair enough for me. Actually, I don't even know what her rest in her C. I just want C2 at least, but deal 60% of create on everybody remembers a ballooning blessing. So every time increase normal total and trigger attack damage, it's going to be removed after triggering 6 times or when the duration ends. When you hit more than one, a trigger counts and consumed based on the number of opponents hit counts. Huh. So she's like Shinhei levels in a way. 65% of her defense. Damn. That's almost 2,000. At least 2,000. Huh. Or C6. Let's say she grants spirit sleeps. When she has a nice old blessings as she sprints leaves or she gains imperishable night. Ignore the limitation or nice old blessing state. And increases the damage dealt by her normal and pleasuring attacks by 5 seconds. Huh. So she increases her traversal technically. So I actually could sprint for 5 seconds and she won't lose her duration timer technically. Because when you do, you're actually gutting your timer. But now you're pretty much going faster for 5 seconds. And after her arrestor, what is it, like 12 seconds of duration by this point? So 7 seconds of it is your AH now starting to deplete. Huh. Her Night Soul time limit countdown will be paused. Shalana's Night Soul points, collision, and stamina would not decrease. Oh, that's even more ridiculous. And when her Night Soul points reach the maximum, her Night Soul blessing state will not end either. Huh. Deals 300% of her defense increased normal pleasure attack while in Night Soul state, and she has every. Really? So knowing that she's getting her damage output and she's lasting her abilities longer. Granted, obviously, if you have multiple elemental, that's negated anyway. So, but but her Night Soul limit will be paused. Night Soul points affliction would not decrease, and when her Night Soul points reach the maximum, her Night Soul blessing state would not end either. So that negates the whole hey, I ain't doing shit after my 4 attacks. Huh. But here's the thing: Night Soul blessing state would not end either. So wouldn't that screw Muika though? I need to see a video about that because if it doesn't disappear her points, it doesn't count to. Well, actually, how does Muika work on her thing? This person really is. When is it? That's my part. It says it's consumed though. I don't know. That sounds like a Benny thing. Like, hey, if you're a C6 with Benny, you're kind of screwed on any characters that have elemental fused. Oh, what now? Anyhow. Oh, we still have another fight to go. Who's over here? Oh, I know. But yeah, so if I actually get those teams up and running, that'd be great. I wonder what's the max amount. So, yeah, this is my status right now. I have 7 fates, and I have A6. So I have 93 pools ready, and I have 40 pity, and it's guaranteed status, by the way. I used to have 300 plus of these, but Circular Exchange, but I went crazy on that one round with Skirk. But yeah, This character, I really like her. Her story is rather really relatable. I can't remember who's the next character that's coming up. I don't know if it's that Flynn's guy. Oh, let's see. Because they did show a... Yeah, so Flynn's is coming out the next update. I don't know anything about the character. And Yelan's coming out. You know how many times I actually want Yelan? I actually rolled twice for her, and I still failed my 50-50s. So I know Sucrose and Dory will be on this roster, which is really interesting. But, yeah. Why have my inventory again? Or is that housing item? Which, by the way, should I go back to my teapot? It's probably almost timed up. Okay, who texted me? Oh.
This realm.
Ooh. Region 1 upgraded. Do that for the battle pass. Refill that. More money for the tummy.
If you ever.
That reminds me. Shit, never mind. I can't look at it. Which, if I do get Shalone up to speed on her constellations, she is going to be a really strong traversal character. Especially her C6, because she'll be running around. And I've been using her traversal abilities quite often. Solani I just do for the super jump, and if I do need a good drop-off point, I'll activate, this thing. So, actually, I should really get that last one updated too. Let's get the MRE on there. Yeah. I should be using this more often, and Narcry. I'll do that next time. Okay, what foods I need to do? I know I have one that's inbound. Oh, there it is. Oh, wow. Anyone new? Nope, okay.
We should take a break after all that running around. Yeah, let's rest here for a bit.
Okay, recipe's done. Do I have any 10s? Oh, there's one right there. Really? You would think EFO would be it.
missions do I still have to finish? Let's see. 1, 2... not so many as I thought. I'll get to them tomorrow.
I gotta get more eels to finish that up. 20 healing bonus, that's gonna be ridiculous. Oh, never mind, I don't want to place my own characters. Well, no. Only applies to my own characters for the effect, but doesn't say the healing bonus will be affected by everyone else. I don't know, we'll have to say that.
We should take a break.
I'm doing enough co-op stuff.
Yeah, let's rest here for a bit.
Found in the wild, recommend found on Wakami Island. That one's also been lacking too. The hell is that one? Red berry shroom. Oh, that's the old farm. Oh, that's Ferminase. Story of max select and regenerate. Oh, that's pretty nice. It's weird because I have all these characters, and you would think they would slowly accumulate over time. And yet, Raiden Shogun can't cook. Like, Kinich and Chatsuka and Veressa is the only thing I'm missing from that line, if it comes to cooking wise. Of course, she doesn't count. I really like this character a lot. The only problem I don't like about her is her kit. I don't know, it doesn't fit my playstyle. I'm always like going into headstrong first type of thing and just move around and I guess you would say get sweaty a little bit in the pee of battle. Her, I just feel like you're on standby, do your thing, and just do a thing. For some reason, I feel like I want to say charmed. Anyhow, I don't know. It's just the character. I just love her personality and her story. I just gotta get used to the feet. I know she's trying to be a deer, but it's just the way her feet is, and that has to be cramped as hell. And not to mention, a moon priestess. That's what everything gets me. It's funny. It's funny with this patch between Withering Waves and Genshin that we have two moon priestesses. We got for Septimont, and we have her for freaking Norcry. It's funny how they came at the same time. Both moon priests. Like, what the hell? You're killing me, guys. That's my weakness. I love moon goddesses or moon priestess or anything relate to the moon, period. And the reason I would say that because I like Sailor Moon. Which I still gotta get on Sailor Moon Crystal. I gotta hook up to like a subscription to Crunchyroll and watch the rest of it because I went through season 1 and I went to season 2. But then I have been on Crunchyroll for a long time. And apparently, they now made a subscription base, literally, because it used to be free. Granted, you had like 10 freaking ads you gotta go through for every episode, but still, whatever. I able to watch them. But now they straight up paid locked it on subscription on those episodes now. I'm like, even the previous ones. Even the Ace Attorney, they used to be free, and now the Ace Attorney series got paywall. I was like, okay, Crunchyroll just went straight on paywall now. It used to be not to, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell happened over the years since the last time I used Crunchyroll. They went full on subscription pay now. But yeah, I was watching them. Attack on Titan, which I need to get caught up on that because I was on the one episode revealing Aaron noticed that he had powers to control Titans, apparently. And then you see the guy in the background. It's like, oh, I'm the new villain. And it ends the season. So I haven't watched that. I heard Attack on Titan was freaking ridiculous. And apparently Aaron turned vile, evil, and questionable of his own deeds. But I gotta get on to Dan. That's another one. Apparently, I think it finished this season finally. So I gotta get on that. I want to get that Sakamoto Days one. I heard that was hilarious, which my one friend told me. He's like, dude, this thing is freaking ridiculous. It's like Dan. Like, 1 minute you're doing this, he's like, what the hell is going on here? So, oh yeah, I finished my Vampire D Volume 1. Yeah, they really did tear from the book to the anime. They swapped a lot of scenes. Certain characters got swapped around. Certain scenes actually were added or revised. So yeah, there was a lot of things. So last time I said, what was I at last time? Seeing that in the anime when D goes to the castle and try to fight the Count, but which he ended up not fighting the Count, technically. He ended up seeing the vampire hunter with his little witch sidekick that sent him to his trap to the Hydra sisters, or the Midwitch. So it played off the scene, sort of, but here's the kicker. He goes to the castle. Instead of fighting all those the night monsters and such in the castle, he ended up being kind of escorted into the castle. And see Magnus Lee with Lumika was in. They just greeted him. Granted, the Count wanted to destroy D right there and then, but Lumika had other plans. Like, offer him parlay and, maybe be part of the nobility. And she had the hots for D. She straight up told him. And say, hey, bring the girl and we'll forgive you and you can be part of the nobility, blah, blah, blah. Which obviously D refused. Thus angered the Count even more and ended up trying to kill. They fought, which played out almost like how the movie ended. How the whole scene went. The sword went into the Count's chest, but he clapped it. Ended up actually, the tip of the blade ended up hurting the Count, but he was not regenerating from said attack. And he even questions, like, what's going on? Why am I not regenerating from that wound? But he ended up, when he collapsed his sword, he ended up throwing D in the trap door that Lumika actually set up. So that's where he got sent down to the Midwich sisters, which kind of played the anime. How he got introduced. He sees, obviously Lefty makes his comments, which he did in the movie too. But he eventually did meet the Midwich sisters, which they did reenact the whole scene technically. But they changed it to instead of like sucking on his essence for a few days when Doris got captured by the Count. No, he immediately just went his vampiric side and bit into their neck and made a thrall out of them. And he's like, okay, take me out of this cavern. I'm like, wow, he didn't kill them. He didn't chop off their heads. He literally just sicked his veins and enthralled them. which they emphasize like they're the most powerful beings besides the vampires, and they've been around for a long time before the vampires were even, introduced in the world. So yeah, it's really weird. So during that whole time, Doris is at the place, but while Dee was distracted this whole time, the Count actually ended up going to her farm and made an attack toward him, which Dr. Fearing did show up, and Dan was asleep because she knocked him out. And yeah, the Count actually made an assault. It was not Genji who, and with his 3 other cronies, night creatures, attacked. No, it was straight up the Count, which her and the doctor went freaking apeshit. Apparently there was a ballista or something like that went to the Count's chest. He's like, really? Which he was getting off on that, apparently, because, he's like, oh, this is the most fun I had for a while now. I'm hunting for this woman. I'm like, you're freaking sadistic just like your daughter. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Lomika, when Dee got thrown into the trap door to the underground, Lomika was like, plan is like, oh, so what are we going to do now? It's like, well, the Count's like, the Midwest sisters will take care of him. It's like, what if he doesn't get taken care of from her? And he ends up escaping and survive. And he's like, well, that could be a problem then. So Lomika's like, I'll take care of it. It's like, I'll fight him. I will chop off his head. And I'm going to have him bask in my blood. And he's going to be mine. I'm like, dude, Lomika, chill down. Your bloodlust is freaking ridiculous. But so, before the assault from the Count to Doris's farm, the doctor showed up, told us to say, hey, your father gave me something, because her father used to be a werewolf hunter. But apparently he did fight a vampire lord or some sort. And apparently there was some kind of weird dust that he had, and it was a deterrent of some sort. But problem is, the side effect of this so-called dust was, after it's been used and invading humans were in the vicinity, they apparently have no memory of what happened. Weird plot device, but they don't know what happened. So obviously that was going to be used, because how that was emphasized. I was like, yeah, they're going to use that against the Count, which they did. And he's like, you used that thing. And then he just ended up running away like a bitch. Because he was about to sink into Doris' neck again. And also Dee put some kind of weird charm around her neck too, to prevent him, or deter him, I guess would be a better term. But because of the dust, it also was another effective thing. So he ended up fleeing from the scene. Let's see what else happened. After the assault of the farm, she wakes up in the morning. She's like, okay, Dee did not kill the Count, because obviously he made his assault. So Dee failed his attempt. So Doris was worried about Dee. So she actually, herself, it's like, okay, I'm going to the castle myself. I need to find Dee. And of course the doctor's like, hey, this shouldn't be a thing. You shouldn't be worried about this. If he failed, maybe he's dead or something. But she's like, no, he's alive. I know. So she ignored the doctor's warnings. She goes to the castle. Meanwhile, Ren Genji, so the vampire hunter guy was in the movie, which was Lomika's pretty much bodyguard. He's actually a separate entity now. He's not part of the freaking Vampire Lord's goons. He's actually a bunch of bandits, I guess you would say, and they don't give a shit. And the Frontier, which, the main, CIA or what, FBI or whatever, the main army of the human force from the capital, they've been hunting for them because they're wanted for whatever misdeeds they've done in their time. So in the anime, you have that giant, you have that spider guy, and you have that weird guy with the sickle, which he was really quick for fighting Dee. They're actually his cohorts, his team members. And the old lady that when Dee assaulted in the anime, that he was next to her, and she was like a spirit master, she's another one of his cohorts. So while Doris is going to the castle, those guys, well, at least 3 of the guys, and Genji, minus the old crone, which they call her, they were spied by the FDF, Frontier, or yeah, whatever, the FTC or something like that, a task force. They were spotted. They engaged. And of course, those guys got slaughtered like crazy because apparently they're like, "Oh yeah, we found you four." And it's like, "Oh, four? You thought there was four of us?" And it's like, "What?" And the crone apparently she cast her spirit beast like a sniper and ended up slaughtering the guys. So meanwhile, Doris sees the crone when she was going to the castle, and she thought it was some old lady. It's like, hey, you shouldn't be here. Well, when she went into her vicinity, she had like a protective trap. So anyone who goes near the crone, immediately her spirit beast was attacked. That's how Dee got attacked at one scene in the anime. So she actually almost got her throat slit open from it. She backed off, lucky her instincts about werewolf hunting and other things that she taught from her father. So she evaded it, and the crone noticed her presence and ended up trying to attack her, but Doris ended up ending her. So she's like, okay, this woman was possessed. She didn't know anything. I thought it was some kind of weird possession thing. So she's like, okay, this old lady is possessed. I need to take her body back. So she put her on her horse, but when she was about to go back to the castle, on the track of the castle, the old crone ended up waking up, and she ended up getting beheaded. Not Doris, the old crone. Turned to be Rengenji, saved her. So Doris was like thankful of that, and he's like, "Oh, that's twice you saved me." It's like, "Oh, it's like, hey, can you do me a favor and take this old lady back?" You know, it felt like she was present. He's like, "Oh, no problem." Thing is, he wanted to get rid of his cohorts, and she was one of the problems in his squad because how she spiritually she actually could take him out if she found out she was being betrayed. So he took an opportunity to take her out. Well, he started offering to her. It's like, well, that's great and all. That's twice I saved you. I want my reward. And she's like, yeah, I'll give you back. He's like, no, I want it now. Yeah, he was hitting on her heavily. And he's like, I want it now, and you're going to lay with me. And not to mention, something that you shouldn't be knowing because she knows there's bodies of those guys that the old crone was killing. So he wanted no witnesses. So he's like, he was going to sexually assault her. She knew his intention. She tried to run away. Obviously, his blade thing ended up chopping her ride's legs off. She falls down, along with the crone's body was still on the horse. He was about to, be upon her until a weird fog came out. And then you hear three female voices. He was frozen in terror, Rengenji. And then his cohorts come up and say, hey, what the hell's going on here? And then Rengenji knows, like, yeah, she killed the crone, and she killed one of her members. I was trying to get her, but now I don't know what the hell is in the fog right here, and I'm hearing three voices. And they're like, they hear the voices again, or they hear the voices too. And they were frozen, and they're like, oh, shit, this is something that we're going to have a fight. And then you hear Dee's voice. And they were paralyzed in fear. They're like, because his authority. And Doris hears his voice, and he's like, Dee, is that you? It's like, come towards the fog. You'll be safe. So she ended up running towards the fog. Of course, Rengenji's like, I'm not having this. Threw his blade, into the fog, which did not land its mark per se. Dee ended up deflecting the weapon back somewhere else. So Rengenji was really pissed. So I was like, okay, my prey has left, and yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. So two scenes happen. One, the Midwich sisters came back to the castle, which he was not happy. He's like, and they were in sheer ecstasy because they were still enthralled by Dee's vampiric bitten. So they were like, like how in the anime, they were getting drunk off his essence. It was pretty much that scene. So the cat was like how Rengenji died in the anime. He literally splattered him. I was like, and Lumika comes out, it's like, why did you kill them? He's like, they betrayed me, and they're useless. He's like, what do you mean? And he mentions like, oh, it's like, oh, Dee's alive still. She's like, oh, this is good. And he's saying, of course, she's getting all horny for it. And he's like, well, I know I have to deal with another problem, but I think I found a new investment, aka he knows Rengenji was in the area and did what he did. So he's like, I got a plan. And Lamika is like, oh, really? What do you want? And he explains it. And then she's like, she also talks to her father, saying, hey, why are you going all crazy about this girl? She's going to be the fall of this, pretty much how the anime did, felt her displeasure about having this human female being the core. So he explains himself about it, and he's like, I can't be here for the wedding. I'm out of here, Obviously, this is the point where she's going to probably turn on her father, but the whole Doris thing. So, that was coming up. So, meanwhile, it goes to the next scene. They're back at Doris's farm. Doris is asking Dee, he's like, hey, what the hell happened? And he's like, I screwed up. He literally said it. He's like, I screwed up. I was like, well, at least he's being honest about it. It's like, yeah, I screwed up badly. I should have had it done and then, but I didn't. So they kind of bonded, those two, Doris and Dee, which Dee tried to resist himself because that's how Doris is, sexually attracted to him. And of course, after, he's all by himself, Lefty makes his comments, which Doris did hear him. He's like, who are you talking to? He's like, oh, I'm just mumbling myself. I was like, wait, that sounds like a different voice. And it's like, yeah. But Dee ended up talking to Lefty, and Lefty's like, concerns like, why are you doing these things? It's like, you're doing these things for less. You're getting paid for less. And yeah, it's like, don't tell me you're in love with these people. And then, of course, that's how the anime was. And he's like, shut it. So, because Azora saw Rengenji is involved, she tried to go to take care of the whole sheriff thing. But during this time, Rengenji was introduced to the candle, which paralyzes any vampires, or in this case, it puts them to sleep. It's really weird. Instead of being paralyzed, they consider it just induces as sleeping. Like they're like, it's like the daylight thing. Vampires can't be in and out in daylight; they end up sleeping in the day, type of deal. So it's called the time reducing candle or incense. So he got introduced to that, but the thing is, instead it was a dark messenger. It was the Count himself went to the inn. Of course, Greco shows up. Which I played out that scene. He's like, oh, this is interesting. But here's the other thing is that Rengenji was told by the Count personally, he's like, you're in my territory. You shouldn't have been in my territory. And you did things, atrocities. It's like, oh, let this slide if you take care of this vampire hunter. And then Rengenji is like, okay, if I do. And then everything's like, yeah. It's like, I'll let everything slide and I'll pretend nothing happened. You didn't exist in this territory. So... But Rengenji's like, hey, can I make one more, reward? He's like, you're pushing my luck. He's like, I want to be part of the nobility, which that's how you want it to be in the movie, too. He's like, I'll think about it. It's like, what about your cohorts? He's like, they're nothing to me. It's like, I'll take care of them. It's like, I just want to be part of the nobility. He's like, huh, you actually betray your own men and for greater power? Your humans are different. So that scene got played out, which played differently, like I said, from the anime. Instead of a dark messenger, it was turned to be the Count himself shows up in town. You would think people were like, oh, the Count is here. What the hell? So it played out the scene where Dan, Doris's brother, got kidnapped. But same scene happened. Of course, Doris is in hysterics. He's like, I'll take care of it. I'll fight him. Blah blah blah. They didn't use the transfer that whole note thing because because in the movie Doris is looking. It's like, what is this? I don't understand this. And he's like, oh, it's only for vampires. No, they didn't say anything about that. She actually just read it, and it's like, oh, he's been kidnapped. So I don't know why that was added in the anime. Strangely enough. So it got played out the first fight with Rengenji and D, technically. But the thing is, his 3 other cohorts were with him. But he has this plan saying, it's like, okay, you fight my friends one at a time. And they're looking at him. It's like, I thought we were all supposed to gang up on him. He's like, no, it makes it more interesting. He wanted to get rid of his members because he knew D was going to dispatch them easily. And D's like, I'll take him out and all of them in 1 minute total. They're like, huh, so you're going to take all of us in 15 seconds? Oh. So the first guy was the giant, which gave D a little bit of a hassle. And they're like, oh, you're skipping out. You're past your 15 seconds for this guy now. And Z's like, okay. And I'm just killing him. Because apparently the giant has hard skin, but his tongue, which happened in the anime, was his weak point. So he ended up killing him doing that. So the next guy was the slender, faster, guy who was flying around in the anime. He ended up, apparently he was like going like Mach speed. He even said that in the book. It's like, yeah, he's going Mach 5 levels of speed. Yeah, D ended up dispatching him after he did certain maneuvers around the guy. So the third one, we know where this is going because how the anime went. So the spider guy is like, I'm going to hit you with my little friends. Yeah. All spiders and sliced them in half like how the anime was. I was like, he ended up killing him like in 4 seconds. So he's like, 43 seconds. You killed my 3 guys. And then Rengenji is like trying to offer. He's like, I didn't really want to kill you. I just want you to just get rid of my cohorts. But, It's like, oh, by the way, the girl, is she still at her place? It's like, yeah, I left her. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. She went to the doctor, which you know how the anime was, that the doctor was turned. But she went to the doctor and he wasn't there, but the nurse was there and she ended up helping the nurse with whatever the patients and shit. So until the doctor arrives. So D ended up checking the perimeters, to make sure nothing weird was going on because Greco, the Great Genji, and all that shit was going on in the town. So everything was clear. So she's at the doctor's facility. So Rengenji's like, oh, you sent her to the doctor, huh? It's like, yeah. It's like, you do realize he's turned. D's like, kind of like how The Witcher was in the series right now on Netflix. It's like, fuck. It's like, I had this candle I actually can use. Or no. He offered him, say, he will work with D to take out the Count, and they can rule the whole sector with those 2, which obviously that's not going to happen. Jesus Christ, I'm getting a freaking text. So obviously D refused. He's like, okay, I need to get rid of you. You're a problem. So they end up fighting, which he tried to use the candle. Played out how the anime was. Oh yeah, and Dan was also restricted because there was some kind of weird curse thing before the whole fight happened. But he ended up letting Dan go. He's like, oh, break it. He's like, that's strange. You had this kid on hostage and you're just gonna let him go. He's like, he had his play his use. I had to play this little act. That was the only good gesture he did for trying to prove the D. He's like, I'm having a good gesture. I'm letting the kid go, but join forces to take out the Count. And of course, Jan does his quip and such, saying, hey, why would we want to work with a scumbag like you, But they end up fighting, which obviously he tried to use the candle, which didn't work, and off with his left hand. And D's like, what the hell? I was like, what was the point of that? But also in the fight, then D learned about his special ability, which they just kept that in check. So when D was about to do the dealing blow, which happened in the chest, did the same thing how the anime was, which, like I said, scenes got swapped because it was like the first half of the series. Now we're on the second half of the freaking book, or aka the movie at this point. The scenes got swapped. So obviously D's like, ow. But he ended up slicing him, Rengenshi, in the chest, which normally would have been the heart, but he knew something was off, and he ended up twisting the blade differently, ended up going through D's gut. And Rengenshi's like, damn, It's like, he's really good. He knows my trick. And Dee's like, so I finally found the mutant who has his temporal powers, which he did said that in the anime. And he's like, I finally see this type of being. And of course, Rengenji took this opportunity because Dee was kind of winning over from the damage he took. And he's like, okay, this is getting a little serious. I need to get the hell out. So he kind of ninja vanished out. Of course, Dan was concerned. Dee's like, no, I need to go. It's like, I'm not going to reach. Because apparently he also told about the whole asylum, whatever place, safe haven that the doctor was going to take her to, which aka the Count was going to be delivered to. So Dan told us, like, yeah, there's a shortcut, but it's going to be real perilous and dangerous and such. He's like, I don't care. We need to go now. Time's the essence. So back to Doris. Obviously, Dr. Fearing shows up at his facility, which was nighttime. And she noticing weird things, but she didn't pay any heed to it. But, knowing the doctor for so long. He's like, oh, yeah, there was a problem, which same thing, same excuse kind of from the anime. He's like, hey, I had someone I attend to. It took a little longer than it should have been, blah, blah, blah. Which turns me, he was underneath the cellar and, sleeping off from the daylight. So, same scene played out. They're in the carriage. Shows up. Turned out to be Lamika showed up, as how the anime was. Played the whole scene out from the anime, pretty much. But Lamika ended up stabbing him. He didn't say he's like, oh, I'm sorry or anything. He just died. He's off the cliff. Lamika, instead, Lamika being like cordial to Doris, she actually is like, I'm going to kill you. You're the problem. My father is going after you. So she was really in a threatening state with Doris. But then Greco shows up with the candle, obviously knocks out Lamika from, being active. Doris fainted from Lamika's, kind of terrifying presence. She wakes up seeing Greco near her, as had the scene played out. And she's like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm here to save you. This is the vampire lord's daughter, It's like, we could play the whole scene, bargain, see if we can actually get this out of there, blah, blah, blah. And of course, Doris, felt that the candle was starting to affect her, which how the anime was. And Lamika, in her state, trying to be active, did her thing. It's like, hey, kill me now or I'm going to kill you later. And he's like, oh, fine. I don't think the vampire lord. Doris played out. It's like, hey, she's defenseless. Again, the whole anime scene. But end up how it went. Yeah, so she played out the whole scene, but here's the kicker. Now the scene's a little different now. The vampire lord shows up, Magnus Lee. He's like, I was wondering why it was taking so long. And he sees his daughter, Lamika, and Greco is like, oh, shit. Of course, the candle doesn't affect the vampire lord much, apparently. I think one of his minions came in, and the werewolf, I think he came back, ended up snuffing the candle out from Greco. Greco was shitting himself, literally. So they were all, pretty much that whole scene was going to be screwed. Like, Doris is going to get captured. Greco was pretty much set to die. Lamika, when she got out of that whole situation, she's like, explaining to her father why she was there, well, lyingly. It's like, oh yeah, I was trying to bring her to. I was like, I thought you hate her. It's like, it's like, I don't care. You're gonna be punished when we get back home. So he knew her intentions. He didn't give a shit what her excuse was. It's like, I know your intentions. Then pops out Dee from behind the Count and the daughter, and which he kind of held the Lamika hostage. So the Count's like, great. So Greco's shitting himself. He's like, what was he? And Dee and Dan was like, get in the carriage. We're turning around. We're fleeing. So the Count ended up, backing off because his daughter was being held hostage by Dee. So they end up escaping. After a certain amount of distance, they were like, okay, he's not going to follow us at this point because, we have Lamika. So it kind of played out the scene. Dee was with Lamika. Greco, surprisingly, was with Doris and Dan. Talk about the whole situation. Dee explains what's going on. Of course, whoa, the banter between Doris and Lamika got real bad. He's like, I don't like your kind. It's like, why are you humans, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know why my father's here. He's like, well, it's not my problem. You talk about, stalking and such, and yet your father is a horny horn dog. It's like, he should be the one backing the hell off. And it's like, and Dee's like, okay, enough of you two. So of course, Lamika's like, senpai type of deal on him. It's like, oh, fine. So they ended up playing the whole scene. Lamika got let go, and he gave her an extra horse because Dan and Dee had horses. So he gave the extra horse to Lamika to go back to the castle. And she's like, why you let me go? You could have killed me right now. It's like, I'm not like that. Which played the whole scene with Dan and Doris. Even Dee actually gave her an option. It's like, okay, Doris, what do you want me to do with her? Kill her or let her go? And she's like, I had no reason to kill her. It's like, she was going to kill me, but you know what? I have no reason to. It's like, it doesn't make justice if I kill her. It just makes the father even more pissed off and such. So she's like, you know what? Just let him go. She's not really involved. It's the count I have to deal with. So, and of course, he's the words of his ancestors, aka his father, Dracula. And she's like, how would you know that? Like, what nobility are you part of? Which he doesn't explain. So, goes back. Obviously, Lamika got punished for it, which happened in the scene in the movie. Greco shows up at the farm because now he has the candle induce, which is still in his possession. So he was actually waiting for Dee to show up. So he actually needs to take out Dee because he thinks Dee is the problem for him at this point. Of course, Ren Genji was on the branch. He's like, chilling, like, so, what you got there? He didn't end up killing him, how the anime was, surprisingly. So, end up Greco and Ren Genji. Obviously, Ren Genji is going to kill Greco, no, regardless, in the end. But they made a deal. It's like, okay, I got a plan for you. We work together. We take out the vampire hunter. Maybe we'll take out the vampire lord later on if we actually succeed. And, you can be a rich man, just flaunting, the riches, glory, all that shit for Greco, which Greco just ate that up somewhat. Well, he was hesitant at first, but he's like, I don't care. I just want Doris. So that's all he cared at the end for him. So he's like, okay, we'll make a deal. But then there was a crowd of people showing up. So before that happened, the night after, Dee let go Lamika, apparently the vampire lord was going around the town and start biting on these women. And they were being possessed by his power. So they're telling the villagers, say, hey, bring me the woman or else I'm going to make this whole village a night of the living hell. Like, everyone would be zombified or vampiric. So obviously the town was all freaking out because all their daughters and wives are getting bitten by this vampire lord and being possessed. And they're pretty much walking dead corpses. Even though they're not hostile, but they're in a state of vampirism or undead, legion of undead. So the villagers showed up, obviously a shit ton, without the sheriff, because the sheriff ended up freaking got locked away in his own jail cell. Doris comes out, it's like, what the hell is going on? And the mayor was pissed off. He's like, you need to go to the asylum and we're going to deliver you to the count because right now everyone's getting bit. And he shows one of the girls, who's got possessed. It's like, this is what's happening. Because of you, now the vampire lord's pissed off at us, villagers. Of course, Dee comes out, stops the rioting, and pretty much are about to literally assault and take Doris away. But then Ren Genji comes out of the bushes. He's like, okay. It's like, seems like we have a problem here. And of course, Dee's like, oh, you. It's like, okay, how about I fight for you villagers? If I win, you guys can take the girl and, whatever. So and Dee's like, if I win, you leave the girl alone. So they kind of made an agreement to have a duel between those two. So they fought. Dee was about to, knows about his temporal ability of Rengenji. So he was trying to be really cautious of what slight attacks that he can. He can attack the limbs, but when it comes to like the head, body, or any type of body part besides the limbs, it's got to be reversed against D. So D was very cautious how to do things against him. But when he was about to do a potential fatal blow against Rengenji, Greco comes out and hits him with the candle. And then got D paralyzed, and thus Rengenji ended up staking D. Thus D ended up dying, and of course, everyone's like, oh, okay. Greco ended up taking Doris, or not taking Doris. The mayor was a little pissed off at his son, but he is also grateful that, this situation's been ratified. And Rengenji actually ended up fleeing from the scene. So Doris got captured. She went back to went to the jail cell. I guess the asylum or jail. Greco shows up, talks to the guard, and he's like, hey, your father told me not to let you in. And he's like flaunting these coins, which apparently Rengenji gave him some of these nobility coins, which are worth a freaking fortune, apparently. So he kind of flashed around, but he ended up, the guard's like, okay, you got a few minutes, talk what you needed to do, talk to her. Which ended up killing the guard. He's like, oh yeah. So he ended up killing the guard. So Doris is shocked to see Greco show up. It's like, hey, I'm trying to get you out of here. It's like, of all the bullshit you did, and not to mention you got D killed, screw you. I'd rather be the vampire lord than you. So they argue. He gets pissed off. He gets a little flustered. And next he felt a presence. Lamika was behind him. She ended up gutting that bastard really bad. Doris is like, oh shit, I am in a corner, I'm screwed. And the vampire lord's daughter is here, and she's going to kill me, she thought to herself. But no, actually, and Lamika's like, okay, I'm getting you out of here. And she's like, I am stuck in the prison here. It's like, now go. So Lamika tried to have Doris get out of the prison, and unfortunately, just when they're about to go out, the vampire lord shows up, and he's like, why are you here? He was not happy with Lamika letting Doris escape, and pretty much knocked her out. So, ended the scene for her. Obviously, Doris is captured. During this time, like how the anime was, obviously Rengenji chopped off, Lefty, or D's left hand. So he got lopped off and did his thing, kind of, crawled around. Which the book actually emphasized, like, what the hell is this being? It has a face and all that such. So they're trying to establish his character point, because throughout the whole time in the book was just a voice. It's like, where is this voice coming from? Well, it was Lefty. So he goes to D, trying to get his body, get back in. Did his thing, Earth, Wind. Well, she needs fire and something else to revive D in a much easier fashion. But when he was absorbing the wind and the ground, he was actually kind of making fire inside himself. Then he looked, he's like, God damn it, D. Took the stake out. And I love how they emphasize how his hand is like seeing, doing this. It's like, yeah, the hands keeps waving around. It's like, it's really surreal seeing a hand just, doing things. But I also played out the cannibalistic dust demon thing that absorbs things, which end up eating the sheep, but he actually end up invading the barn and end up eating the sheep. But then I noticed that D's corpse was nearby. And then, it played the whole scene out. He sliced up. Of course, Lefty's like, oh, that was close. It's like, what? Pretty much played the whole scene from the anime. It's like, what do you do? Never mind. It's like, what happened? It's like, Well, the girl got kidnapped, villagers, and right now I think you know where this is going right now. It's like, yep, to the castle. So it played out the scene. I'm trying to remember how Dan showed up, though. I'm trying to remember how her brother showed up because in the anime it was really weird because he was randomly placed in the castle, but because of Ren Genji, he also saved him in the anime. But I don't know. I think it was Dan was trying to get to the asylum, but he ended up failing. Got there too late. Then he know what happened. I think if I remember correctly, I think D ended up meeting Dan during his trip to the back to the castle and say, "Hey, this is the situation. This is what happened." And this is what the villagers told me. Apparently, the Lord came in. And he's like, "Yeah, I know. I sensed it." So the wedding scene was pretty much being played out, which all the coffins. Instead of being all these minions and showing it, apparently it was the coffins, and Lamika even was there, active, even though she was not in a happy state of the affairs, what's going to transpire. But Dee enters the castle. Obviously, the nobility's mechanical alarms were being set off, but Dee ended up disabling said nobility alarms and offensive devices. And they're like, who is this guy? He's able to disable my technology here. So Lamika was like kind of a little happy. It's like, oh, good, he's here. Maybe we'll stop this whole wedding. And of course, in the Vampire Lord, it's like, you better stop him. It's like, she's having like, fine, we'll try, that type of deal. But also, Rengenshi was still there, but he was not offered the nobility. So he's like, the Vampire Lord's like, okay, so you take care of him, I will guarantee you. So he kind of offered that. Which D ended up fighting Rengenzi, which obviously he ended up beating him despite the temporal shit. He used that temporal attack against him because what's really interesting is how D did it. It was a two-way street. It was not one way. So he ended up stabbing him in the head, which kind of sliced D a little bit. But same sense, he ended up taking his blade and gutted him through. But himself, though. So, because it was a two-way street, and he's like, shit, well played. And Ray Genshi, kind of, what's left of his life. Dan was like screaming. I was like, where is my station? Like, she's being, whatever, being wedded. It's like, I don't know, somewhere in the castle, somewhere deep. And D's like, I already know where it is. So, and same scene in the anime in a way. They go into the deeper catacombs area. Lamika did not involve the fight. She actually kind of bystanded a little bit. Dee and the Vampire Lord end up fighting. Doris ended up grabbing Dee because she was still entranced by the Lord's vampiric hypnotic gaze. So Dee ended up almost got gutted by the freaking Vampire Lord, or assaulted by him. What's really interesting how they emphasize his cape was like all the women that he had in the past, their flesh was used. So it was like a living cape. Kind of reminds me of Meyer Link from the second movie, how he's able to do his little stabs and shit. So it was kind of emphasized that a little bit. I was like, wait, did he just pull a Meyer Link type of scene? So, yeah. Obviously, the same thing happened in the anime. He ended up doing a special technique against the Vampire Lord, which he tried to clap the sword again, but ended up stabbing him still through it. He's like, apparently that technique that D used was someone that in the high nobility only knew. He's like, who are you? And then they see a portrait, which in the anime, which shows, his father, Dracula. And he's like, no shit. You're the highest of nobility and you're here to slay me. It's like, why would you do such a thing? And he, explains, his father's quotes pretty much. And the Vampire Lord ended up perishing from his wounds. Lamika shows up, like how the anime was, like, hey, this castle needs to fall. And Dee's like, tells her, like, well, you can live here, you can still live on. It's like, no, our nobility is corrupted. We need to fall. This house needs to fall. So Doris snaps out of her trance because, the vampire lord's dead. Dan's like, hey, we need to get out of here. So they end up fleeing the scene. But the castle is crumbling, and Dee's trying to convince Lamika, it's like, hey, you need to live, It's like, you are your own person. You don't need to be but noble name and all that such. But she also questioned Dee, it's like, who are you? And are you the son of our most sacred ancestor? Which, because the castle was crumbling in a high density setting, she ended up not hearing what's Dee's answer. And then it also just cuts off at pretty much the end of the book, saying, Doris and Dan sees the castle being crumbled like how Castlevania style. And it's like, thinking about Dee, you think he's still in the building. It's like, what are we going to do? It's like Dee's still in the castle and we don't see a sign of him. So they think Dee perished in the castle, even though he didn't. So Doris is like thinking to herself, she was enthralled to be with Dee. I think that's another reason why Dee pretended he died, because he knew Doris was not going to give up on him unless she knew he was going to die, even though he didn't. So she was worried. It's like, I'm useless. I can't do without him now. But Dan kind of picked her up. I was like, hey, another 6 years, I'll be a dole. I'll help around the farm and such, and I'll beat away all the womanizers that are trying to go after his sister. So, I kind of ended off with that. I was like, interesting. So, say, Doris is all happy with her brother. Dee sets off in the sunset in the movie. In the book, she thinks Dee's actually officially, died with the vampire lords. But, no. It was kind of a little touching, though, when Dee was trying to convince Lamika and say, hey, you are your own person. You can do something else and be better. And another thing that's very strange is that did not mention Lamika was a Dhampir. In the anime, they did. It's like, oh, by the way, your mother was human too. No, didn't emphasize that at all. And it was really interesting also with the wedding, they also mentioned her age. In the movie, they didn't know how old the vampire lord was. And a lot of people emphasized, oh, he's probably like 10,000 years old. No, he was only like 3,757 years old. While his daughter is like 30 years younger than him, which is weird. So yeah, it was really interesting that he was less than 4,000 years old, not 10,000 as a lot of people suspected in the anime. So they emphasize how his age power level was, which Dee probably supersede him, because they always talked about their sacred ancestor. So if they keep saying that, it's like, But yeah. So next chapter, Grant, I could the Gale of the Reverie. I think it was the second volume. I'm gonna go to the Demon Death Chase, which is the second movie, Bloodlust. I want to see how different it is. I saw some little passages here and there. It seemed like the Marcus brothers are not as bad how they were in the movie. Like, they actually respected Dee, because I saw it, it's like, oh, what are we going to do with the other vampire hunter? It's like, oh, I heard he's really good. It's like, respect the guy. I was like, granted, they did kind of said that in the movie too, but they had their own wicked ways. But just some of the passages I saw, I was like, they really respected him. Like, they want to be, it's like they want to do underhand shit toward him, but it's a business they're both competing against, each other. So I'm really curious how the interaction of the Marcus brothers, along with Layla, along with Charlotte and Meyer Malink and Dee, especially with Lefty, I wonder how they're going to react. So it's going to get interesting with this one. And I wonder how the ending's going to go, because I ended up watching the video game version of that game, anime, and how there was 3 different endings. I was like, I wonder if they took inserts from the book on that. how the bad ending was. But I don't know. But from the first book, I don't know why everyone keeps. I looked up online and they say, "Oh, it's a lot different." The brother ended up dying, which he didn't. Um, Characters, like I said, a lot of scenes got swapped, or characters got swapped around their roles and appearances, or being with somebody. It's really weird. And of course, the love interest with Doris and Dee, which Dee was about to stick his fangs because Doris kind of dropped her towel. She's like, "Oopsie," and he's like, and of course, Lefty kind of got on his matter. It's like, she presented herself naked. You could have been her. You could have enjoyed yourself. But no, you had to have the sense of nobility of ethnics. I was like, oh, jeez. I love his little quips, Lefty. He doesn't play much a huge role, but when he actually makes his appearance, he gets straight to the point and just tells D as it is. But yeah. But like I said, I can't wait for check out the second movie / the third book. Should be interesting. I didn't see how many pages that one is. I feel like it's gonna be the same as Volume 1, like 256 pages, I think it was, how it ended. But yeah. I'm more interested in the second volume because how the explains that Dee was commissioned for this one village, and apparently there was children who got kidnapped from a vampire lord, and a few days later they come back, but all of a sudden they're getting attacked, all the night creatures and vampires in the daylight. Like, what's going on? There's not a thing that should be happening, which makes Dee very concerned. It's like, night beings should be night, not all around. So sorry, this is supposed to be a Genshin thing, but end up finishing up my rest of my book. Like I said, the anime in the book is really different, but if I want to be honest, if they were actually going to make an anime of Vampire D, especially if they're going to revise the first book / the first movie, they should make it like almost like a Hellsing type of thing. Like how you have Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate, and actually the Ultimate, or it could be Vampire Hunter D Ultimate, if I want to be honest, and actually go by episodic and say, hey, this is what happened in each scene. Play that off, technically. I don't know how they're going to do with their sexuality scenes, unless they actually want to do an OVA Ultimate type style. That's the only thing I can say. Because, Doris a few times kind of got a little naked or distracting. And plus, some of the sexual assault themes, so that's another thing, too. And the third book, I don't know. Like I said, I gotta go through that. I kind of doubt it because even the movie didn't have too many sexual themes or related assaults. It was just like straight down to like, hey, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of fighting. I got a feeling the one plant lady, though, I think she would be a different characteristic how she plays out. I got a feeling that's going to happen with her. When I get to, what the hell is that one town where all the mercenary night creatures shows up? But, oh, damn, it's 10:02. Jeez, this night went fast. So, okay, I'm gonna get off of this. I should really check about Monster Hunter, even though I'm a little behind on that game. God, I have so many world quests. It's not even funny. Oh, there's that one quest. Oh, this is probably the character quests, since they kind of got rid of this now. Wait, I'm here understanding it. But yeah. So yeah, I'd say Not Cry so far is a really good story. Um, I really like how Llama has been introduced and how she was pretty much the main character for this arc I'm on at the moment. Looks like Flynn's is going to be next on this act because they seem to, because how it ended with him showing up and everyone's like, there's something wrong with it. Even Llama's like very defensive with him. Like there is something weird with this dude. Even because the Traveler, which surprisingly, Traveler, both the siblings actually had their voice acting back finally. So I'm actually kind of happy to hear them talk again finally. Um, but yeah, Llama is very cautious with Flynn's right now, and the way this character acts, and since he's gonna be a playable character, which probably after tomorrow night, yeah, I'm very curious how this character is going to develop. Like, what is his deal? Is he like a undead? Like, I feel like my guess is for his story arc is that he's alive, but he's part of the Wild Hunt somehow. Like, he is somehow associated with the Wild Hunt, but not in the bad way. He just, I guess, he's out of the spell of the Abyss. That's another thing. The Abyss is a lot different in this region. Because they call them the Wild Hunt, and they're weird beings from the Abyss, and they're like undead, and they have no autonomy, I guess you would say. They're just ravishing. It's like they had no rhyme and reason. Seeing the Demoisellette, which now I know that she is the third Harbinger. She's one rank higher than Arlecchino. And she is labeled as the Moon Goddess. One of the three sisters that did not die. And the Marionette, Sudan, I think is her name pronounced. She is the seventh Harbinger, which we did encounter her, and we were about to fight her until the Wild Hunt in the end of Act 1 happened. But she ends like, because we were going for this artifact that we were trying to find, which tried to help out the Traveler, saying what about his past. But she ended up having the damn thing. We ended up possessing the relic inside ourselves because Llama is like, say, hey, you know, the Wild Hunt is actually hunting for this relic. They literally did some underhand cut things. They're like, I don't know, it's like, it's sentient in some form. They knew the presence of this relic. I don't know. There's something going on. Like, what is with this relic? Why is the damsel back? What's involved with her? What's going on? Why is the Wild Hunt like how it acts? Because even the people in the whole region are like, it's just random attack. They don't know what it is. But Flynn's kind of now described it because after we got assaulted by the Wild Hunt when we had the relic, they were actually look like going after the relic. Even Flynn's is like, I see where this is going now. Because he's starting to connect the dots, apparently, he said. He's like, I didn't know these random attacks, but now I'm starting to see where this is going. And now they were trying to find this relic. Now they know that we're kind of in possession of it, but we absorbed the relic inside our body, our main character, for the time being, but we only got, normally, supposedly Llama's like, oh yeah, it only lasts like maybe 2 to 5 days inside a person because it, I guess we're kind of a host of its power. But she was about to self-sacrifice herself. It's like, hey, we need to hide this relic, and the only way to do that, I'll take it myself. And of course, we made a suggestion. It's like, why not we take it? It's like, you sure? And we were not affected. It's like, you're not feeling any weird symptoms? Like, no. It's like, that's kind of new. Because apparently this technique usually has some kind of weird fluctuations, but it did not affect us, which it's not surprising. So I don't know. There is a lot of things so far. We're trying to find our spaceship. The Wild Hunt's after this relic. Damsel is being weird. The Fatui's involved. Like, this is kind of like almost peak Fontaine levels in some form with the second half of the act of the series. So already starting pretty strong at this point. So I'll give Hoyo some credit here. This has actually been a pretty good story arc. I was really hesitant about it. I was like, oh, really? I want to go to freaking, Shisnaya. But then we're at this intermission, technically, of the boundary, and it's like, I'm not really interested. Now I'm like getting through the story. It's like, okay, you got me hooked. Just keep it going. Freaking Natlan, though. I still feel like the voice acting strike affected that story heavily, if I want to be honest. I feel like the whole strike really affected that whole nation story arc bad. It's like I didn't feel like the stakes was high. Like, oh, people are dying. Oh, wait, the reincarnation thing activates. It's like, dude, that's like Dragon Ball levels. Oh no, we're gonna die. Well, we can wish them with the Dragon Ball back to life. There's no high stakes. What was the point of that? I don't know. But yeah. So.
Bring it.
Actually, let's go back to the teapot. I talked so much, we actually had a timer going. Actually. Oh, I can't make any more. I'm done. I keep forgetting there is a cap for that.
This realm. If you ever.
Like I said, she's definitely my main travel character. But, like I said about how my characters, I want to get constellations, I feel like Jelonin came out and... Actually, I could actually see my record because she was on the second release. If you actually can see my character portraits. I'll turn off the camera for now. Fuck it. So, yeah, I got her in... Actually, in April. Surprisingly. So... Which was really strange because, okay, we had Farina recently. I got her C1. So Moika has to come back for a third time. Because her and Solani came out for me. Wow, it's been a freaking year since I got these characters. Jesus Christ. I didn't feel like that long ago. Yeah, because she showed up first before Moika showed up. Because she was best in slot for Moika because her ability able to consume and give her 90 freaking fighting spirit off the bat. And also, in the same sense, she also synergized with Solana because the Night Soul burst. So I get like 12 freaking Night Soul for her area effect. It's funny how these three synergize so stupidly well. I feel sorry for Milani. She was... The only reason I got her because, well, I liked her personality, and plus her traveling was really good at the start of the game, but after that, it's like, But yeah. So, if the next patch shows up on Moeka, because we have Farina as our Archon recently. Wow, I actually got her on the, jeez, November. What was that, Thanksgiving Day? That's kind of funny. Oh, considering our freaking thing. But, yeah, Moeka has to come up next as the next Archon character, which Solani has to show up again. Because she did show up again with Jalone, I think. Or after Jalone. I don't know. But Moeka has to show up, and probably a patch or two later, Jalone should show up. Well, like I said, if I finish my contents up,
Oh, how many?
God, I need another 100. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, I need another 100 if I want to guarantee a C2. Because you know I'm not going to get that 50-50. I've been on a high streak on my 50-50s lately, and my luck has to freaking switch. I know I'm guaranteed within the next 40 pools. But still, that's 40 potential pools I got to invest. I don't know. I gotta do a lot of events. I gotta start finishing up my regions too. That's another problem.
Missions do I still have to?
Because I still gotta finish this sector up. And then you got Nodcry I gotta finish up. And plus we got these events. What the hell is this? The best expensive hammer. Because the story has been merged. No. Beating points? That must be Flynn. That's probably lava, because that's her territory. And obviously that's, I know. I'm surprised we don't have one for Nefer or Jahada. This was really interesting part of the story, though, because you actually had an instance zone, technically, and this whole thing could not be accessed without doing that story arc. So, there's a lot of things changed on that front. Oh, I still haven't gotten this freaking map. Oops. Should really work on that. So what the hell is the point of this? Oh. I thought so. Nice. Okay. Oh, there's 2 sections of it.
There's a lot of good stuff in here. Want to split it? Just kidding. You can take it.
Oh. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. I gotta get that waypoint. There we go.
Take me up.
Or not. I really hate they changed that whole system. Like, you gotta hold down L1 and then tap it real quick. I really don't like that change. It seems to, like, just tap those 2 together and boom, you're done. It's like you gotta hold it for, like, a second, then press the button. You know, this music kind of reminds me. World of Warcraft, on the Horde side.
Incoming.
When you first enter. I want to say the Ford. But it kind of reminds me of that. Grab.
Show no mercy.
Okay. I don't know what I need for these things, but I'm just gonna grab them. Okay. Like I said, I'm done for the night, so I'll probably do Monster Hunter tomorrow. So, goodbye.